Good afternoon, everybody. We are live. Welcome to our fourth webinar of the week focused on Seesaw. My name is Rhiannon Gutierrez, and I'm the Director of Digital Learning for our Technology Department. I'm really excited to be here with my 5 colleagues who've done some incredible work talking about Seesaw so far. We will be here to answer your questions throughout the next hour, as well as provide office hours support. So if you have any questions, we are going to ask that you post them in the chat. You will not be able to see each other or hear each other. You will only see and hear the 6 people on your screen right now. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my colleagues, and just a friendly reminder to check out the chat for live captions. You will also see the icon in the top left corner of your screen, live on custom streaming service, to turn on the captions. All right, take it off, ladies.
Thank you so much, Rhiannon. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shantae Alves, and I'm a pre-K inclusion teacher at Young Achievers in Mattapan.
Hi, I'm Antonetta Brownell. I'm a pre-K inclusion teacher at the Conley Elementary School in Rosendale.
Hi, I'm Judy Nee. I'm the K-1 teacher at the Perry School in South Boston.
Hi, and I'm Colleen Mason. I'm a K0, K1 inclusion teacher at the East Boston EEC.
And hi, everyone. I am Annie Taylor. I work in the Department of Early Childhood in the central office.
Great. So we are going to jump right in. First, we're just going to go over a few housekeeping tips for this session. Just a reminder that due to this type of webinar format, you will not be able to see each other. All attendees will be muted for this webinar. You can type your questions into the chat. We will have a Q&A session at the end, and we will share a Seesaw facts document at a later point. Also, this session is being recorded and it will be shared afterwards, along with the slides. So please do not worry. All this information will be available to you within 24 hours for you to review and play around with. And stay till the very end because we have a feedback form that we would love to get more information from you regarding this session. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get into it. And just to let you know, myself and Netta will be mainly going through the slides, but our teammates Colleen and Judy will be supporting the chat, but also popping in to share tips as well as we go through it. Okay, so these are the housekeeping rules. This is us. This is our Bitmoji. These are our Bitmoji pictures. And we're excited to kind of show you how we integrate Bitmoji characters into presentations and how you can integrate them into your teaching. And you're muted, Netta.
I just have kids running around, so I don't want you guys to hear that. All right, so our agenda, we're gonna review some in-person best practices for family engagement. We're also going to talk a lot about how to engage your families through this remote learning process, how to supplement it with Seesaw. So we are gonna incorporate Seesaw and how you can use Seesaw to engage your families. We're also going to just kind of show you and kind of bring you back to this overview of the other apps. So I don't know, Shantae, if you just want to like click on that. If you came to the webinar earlier today or on Monday, you will see that you will have this. This is a library of kind of best practices, the apps that we've vetted that we feel are like really appropriate with this age level. So everything is in here. I mean, I think I had a teacher ask me, can I get a copy of your schedule? I'm like, it's in here, you know, think about this as like, you know, kind of the housing of best practices, right? This is your library. This is where you want to go. So it's in there. You will receive this. There are things in here that you can, there's schedule examples, weekly Zoom live meeting examples, information about apps. I really love that one too about the social justice library. So there's a ton of things in here. Really take your time, go over it. If you have questions about it, you can always email us, but we're going to try to, you know, capture as much of this as these are examples of some schedules. And, you know, we may add in things, even though you guys will have access to it, we may add things in so that if we come across anything new and dynamic, we're going to add it in. And so you look at it, it's, you know, it's a live document, it's shared. But I think one of the most important things here that we want you to kind of come away with is making sure that it's not overwhelming for families, right? Because we want to engage families. We want to make sure that families are our partners in this, and we want them to feel like they're our partners, right? So we don't want to overwhelm them with a ton of platforms. So we're kind of asking you guys to kind of focus on 3, right? Like Clever, which is like where you're going to house everything. You can house your Zoom page on Clever. You can house pretty much anything. Seesaw is going to be on Clever, right? And so Zoom is obviously really important because that's how the kids are going to get on. And then our Seesaw class is going to be more of the asynchronous learning that kids are, asynchronous time that kids will be uploading activities. So these are kind of like, this is kind of the overall big picture that I want you guys to think about.
Right. And like Netta said, this list is not exhaustive of every app available to you, but these are some of the apps that we've vetted, we've either used or we've heard great things about. And each slide includes a video on how you as a teacher can use it and also how a family can interact with the application. So definitely when you have more time, look through it and see how it can relate to your classroom. So before we get into some of our more recent findings, let's talk about how we were able to do some best practices in person. Because like Netta said in the beginning of our agenda, everything that we've done in classroom can be translated into the virtual setting. How is where we get creative with it. But some of the things that we can keep in mind, that words matter, sorry. Using family, I don't know what accent that was, but using family over parent, because every family looks different. Not every family member is the child's biological mother or father, but those are the people that are their guardians and are supporting them in their learning. So being inclusive of the diverse ways that families can look, calling them teammates or partners, incorporating home languages into the school day. Something that I do every year is I send home our good morning song to the families and I ask them to please translate it into their home language. And so that's a great way to incorporate families and language into the classroom, as well as including all of my students and making them know that their languages, however many that they know, are all beautiful and accepted. And they love being multilingual in the classroom. And substitutes have said how awesome it is that when they come, they're so surprised that these 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds are singing, you know, sometimes 3 to 4 different songs during morning meeting. So that's one way from the beginning of the year that you can engage your families. And this translate easily into the remote learning classroom because you can still send this home, whether you post it on Seesaw and ask families to send you back the transcript in their home language. And the beautiful thing with Seesaw, which I didn't have when I was posting this on Class Dojo or sending it home, families can record a response and you can hear the pronunciation through their recording, which I butchered so many of these songs, I'm sure. And I did ask families, oh, if you could provide a video, that'd be great. But if you can't, no worries. This book that I'm always talking about, The Great Big Book of Families, I received it from a parent a few years ago and I love it because it's a very culturally diverse, and also the way that it shows diversity in the book is well done. I said in the earlier presentation this morning, and I'll say it again, it's not just important to include brown and black students and characters in our books, but it's also important to be mindful of how they are portrayed in these books. And so I love this book because it is very, it takes that into account. It's not just the black and brown families that are experiencing homelessness in this book or food insecurity. It's very inclusive. It talks about having 2 moms, 2 dads. It talks about not having a home and having to live in a shelter. It talks about how some families go to work every day. Some families don't go to work at all. Some families are it's a beautiful book and I think it's very well done. So I highly recommend all teachers, but especially early childhood teachers and especially teachers teaching the focused curriculum in the unit of family. This is a great book to have. And then before we move on, I just want to quickly share that as we know right now and for years upon years, education has been very inequitable because of lack of funding. And so something that Netta and I have been able to do in the spring and in the summer is create Donors Choose projects. Now, You may want to do Amazon wish list, or you may feel more comfortable just buying supplies on your own, whatever you feel comfortable with. But if you feel so comfortable to do it through Donors Choose, give it a chance, because you can get all of these supplies provided. I got watercolor paint, kinetic sand, Play-Doh. When we went back to the classrooms for those 1 days in the spring, I grabbed all the snacks that I knew I wouldn't be able to give out because we were staying remote for the remainder of the year, and I threw them in their resource bag. So kids got like 5 fruit snacks and Cheez-Its and pretzels and water bottles, because I cleaned out all the snacks. Read along books, I grabbed their science notebooks, I grabbed their writing journals, their math notebooks. And so these are a great way to make learning just a little bit more engaging, not a little bit more, a lot more engaging, and way more equitable for our families, because we're providing them with the resources. And then you can see down here, I have counting chips, all things that I was able to buy from Donors Choose to provide to my students so that they can be engaged in the learning virtually. And then also the tadpoles for Unit 6, Things That Grow. Some families were like, yes, we're on board, and some siblings even wanted them. And so some families got 2 to 3 tadpoles, and they were able to enjoy the learning that way. If they did not want a tadpole, I had my own set at home, 3 of them at home that I could show in the screen. And one actually was growing legs, and while the other 2 were still tadpoles. So it was great. I was able to show the diversity in the tadpoles as well. So that's something that we would love to support you with if you need help creating a Donors Choose or just ideas of what to buy. I think in the previous session, I listed everything that I bought. I don't think I'll have time to do that again today, but I can definitely share my list with others.
So these are just some suggested, kind of giving you like, okay, step 1, here you are, you have your list of kids in front of you. What do you do? First thing obviously is email the parents, right? You want to email the parents, you want to introduce yourself, and then maybe you may want to host some kind of welcome session or open house via Zoom. This open house session is something that my team did at my school, where we made you can make a copy of this and customize it to how you would run your session and make it more adhere to your school. But basically, I mean, we pretty much kind of, introduced ourselves. We went over our staff members, overview of the school, that we're NACE accredited, what the curriculum skills entail, what the curriculum is. So I think having something like this to kind of, is a start for your families. I think that's really important. So yeah, you can X out of this one. And then, and I think giving your parents like a weekly schedule as well, right? And again, something like this can be housed in, on your Clever page, right? So all of the links are embedded there. This is what I used for last year, and we have other samples. My recommendation is same link, same password, make it really easy. Make it so easy, the password, that the kids could, try to even get on their own, right? I had one parent was like, oh my gosh, all these lower and uppercase letters, I can't handle it. So make the same link for every Zoom meeting that you're gonna have, so that the parents and keep it on all day. So parents don't feel like, if they're also working from home, or if they have someone else watching their child, they have that one link that they're on all the time. Okay. We did just review the app's resource page. The 3 things that I think you really need to help your parents know is their child's user ID. A lot of parents don't know that. Their email address, and then their child's email address password, which is always their birth date, right? Including the zeros. So that's something that's really important that you really want to make sure your parents have. So even when you're sending them maybe an individual letter, here's the information that you're going to need, for your child. Mm-hmm. Also,
yeah. Before we move on, can you dig a little deeper into why we keep it just one link and how that might look?
Yes. So and I guess we're telling you this too from our experience. I think last year in the spring, it was a little difficult for parents to kind of get on and off the Zoom links, and then they would like misplace it, or they didn't know which one was going on when, even though it wasn't in the schedule, right? We want to make it as easy as possible. So when you have one link with one password, that they know this is the link, they can save it on their desktop. They can make a star next to it on their child's Chromebook for Zoom, right? Which is what I did. So having one is really important, and it's still protected because we are using our BPS Zoom. So we have a high level of protection there, and it still has a password. So if, you know, security is something that might kind of you feel wary about, I wouldn't. I feel like BPS has done a really good job securing the Zoom and making it and protecting it. We have a weekly overview of lessons. So this is something that maybe at some point we'll dive deeper in with this, and how to take what the early childhood is going to give us and then make your document live and presentable for the kids, right? So this is something when I'm doing my lesson with you guys, just like we're sharing a slideshow, I would do this for my week. And I did this.
Netta, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
You sound a little far.
Oh,
There you go. Yes.
Okay, I'll just move closer. Sorry about that, you guys. So I think what's really important is that you can send them this every week. And so if they can't make it to a class, then they have this to view. The read alouds are all in there. I know Shantae organized hers a little, like even more organized, where in the notes she would say which book she's reading on Monday, which book she's reading on Tuesday. And an example of hers is also in here as well. And there it is. Hers was.
And I just literally made a copy of Netta's and then made it my own. So that's what we're suggesting you do as well with this.
Right. And you will have this as a good template to start, right? And so this is something that parents, I would put in the Seesaw announcements, which I will go over with you. This is something that parents would have, and it would be posted on Seesaw.
Mm-hmm.
Another important concept too here is, and we will, a sample letter is here that you should probably give out for each unit. And again, I think early childhood is probably going to help supply a lot of this, just like they did in the spring. Yeah. And then also, if you want to click on the learning code example, this is something that Seesaw generates that you can send out to your parents that, you know, Colleen would always say, you know, let's print it out for them, put it on your refrigerator door, and this is the code that your child needs, like, you know, to log in to Seesaw. So this is also something that's generated by Seesaw. Mm-hmm. And then also another important, is sending a Google invites. So right. It says make a Google Calendar invite. And so Shantae is gonna make a great screencastify and show you exactly how to do it. But this is really helpful because every morning they're gonna get a reminder. Got to get on Zoom, same link. You don't need to make 10 of these. You make one for Monday through Friday. And it'll say like 10 minutes before, you know, 20 minutes before. You can, I always say make it 10 minutes before because it's right there at the top. They're more likely to get it. What I did last year was I would have to do this every night. And this just, you do it once from now until June and you're good. So again, easier for you, easier for them. See, weekly until August 8th. So this is, you know, this is also how to make it easier for you as well, and not, you know, but it really is simplifying things with parents as much as you possibly can.
And something I would add on to that, in the summer, it was great for specialists because our site coordinators, and Colleen might speak to this as well, our site coordinators made a huge like table, and we just put in all of our links, our Zoom links, our one Zoom link. And then our specialists would go into that table and like say, oh, today is Tuesday and I have Netta's class from 9:30 to 10. They would just go look for Netta's classroom code in the table, click her link and join her session. And then Netta would turn off her mic if she didn't want to engage in that special for that day, and make this a co-host. And for 30 minutes, they're in charge of your Zoom link, Families don't have to log off and log on somewhere else, which is what they had to do in the spring. Everything is coming to them. So the kids are able to better manage their own session because they don't have to look for multiple links. It's just one link. And I loved it because I could send kids to go do centers and then have them come back, and their computer served as a reminder, whether it was in the kitchen or the living room or their room. Their computer was open, their microphone was off, and their video was off, but they had a visual reminder that, oh, I have to eventually go back to my computer at some point today. And so something I did, which we can talk about another time, but I would put into the chat the schedule for 11:30 and 12, who was to come and what they should bring, so that at 10:45, if a parent was like, what time do we have to go back to the Zoom session, they could just go into the Zoom chat and see the schedule for the remainder of the day and know what to bring. So they'll bring their number cards if it was math, or their whiteboard and dry erase marker if it was literacy. And that increased attendance and also engagement because they had something to bring back to the session, which is why resources are so important, whether you're getting it from your classroom or your school provides it, the district provides it, or you do a donors choose. Those resources are invaluable because it increases the engagement for the child, because they're going to make sure their parent finds that whiteboard and that marker, or finds their counting chips, because they want to play, because learning is through play. They want to play just like everyone else on the Zoom. So it's a great way to keep students engaged. And this is a bingo board, which was also in our slideshow that you can make a copy of. And what we would do is just, Netta can explain better what she would do with her group. But for my group, I just put this on Seesaw. You would assign it, and you can look over the recording from Monday that Colleen did on how to assign an activity in Seesaw. And once you do that, they have the option of doing whichever activity they want. We would encourage them to do 1 or 2 a day. And this is how it can be in the fall with Focus. However these assignments are created on Focus, on Seesaw, however they're created, you can assign them 2 a day, or you can assign them all on Sunday, or you can assign half on Monday, half on Wednesday, whatever works for you. I would suggest releasing them all if you don't mind, but if you have a specific way you want the week to go, if you want everyone to do reading and construction on Monday, Sunday night, only release reading and construction. And then on Tuesday, release math and mindfulness. However it works for you. That's the beauty of Seesaw. You can schedule a release of an assignment, or you can just release them all at one time or manually release them. And I think that's a great thing. So we would give families bingo boards, or you might call it a choice board or a menu board, and they were able to do it at their capacity throughout the week.
This links to one where you can do it yourself. Like if you want to change up the pictures or whatever, it's editable. So, and then, and this is something good too for parents, because parents are like, okay, I did 2 today and 2 another day, and by the end of the week they're done. So, and I think the next slide is, we made this because we realized that there's some teachers, the slide 9, we made this because we realized that there's some teachers that may not have access to Clever, that are not within that network. And so this could be where you're housing everything. And we made this editable as well. You can edit it. I'm like, it's not my work.
It's 2:30 on a Wednesday. We understand.
Right. So you can edit this. You can obviously remove our Bitmojis, put yourself in there, remove the links that you don't use, that you wouldn't use.
Move it around.
And you can move it around, and you can make it personal to your account. Like this could go directly to your Seesaw, directly to your Building Blocks account. We just put it up there so that this would be a way for you to frame this. This could be emailed to your parents every morning, or whatever, every week. And this could also be put on Seesaw. So this is also a link that can be put on Seesaw, because what's great about Seesaw is you can link it to pretty much almost anything.
Yes. And something we said in the last session, I want to make sure we include in this session. Anything with a link can be linked to your Clever, your Bitmoji classroom, your Seesaw account, anything with a link. If it does not have a link, upload it to your Drive and you automatically have a link for it. So literally you can create a folder in your Google Drive, And if you don't understand, if I'm talking foreign language to you right now, OIIT has a web page with how to navigate your Google Drive and how to navigate Google. You can upload a PDF of your schedule into your Google Drive, and boom, you have a link now. If you notice, you have your friends or your colleagues share a PDF with you or share a document with you, you can get that link, that shareable link, and put it in your Clever, put it in your Bitmoji classroom, or put it in your Seesaw. Anything with the link can be included in Seesaw, Bitmoji, or Clever. And sorry, my computer's a little slow this time. I don't know why. And so we're gonna quickly touch upon how you can communicate with families through Seesaw, but we can better tell you by showing you a Seesaw video. So just quickly going to go through this. We have 3 ways, Seesaw has 3 ways of communicating with parents. You can do it through the school announcement page. Your administrator might do this, or you can do this even as a teacher. Family announcements, and we will get into that. Seesaw has 2 different apps. You have the family app and the class app. So typically, you can send an announcement to all the family member emails that are connected to a child's account and into your classroom, and they can get an announcement. What I like to do, I like to send my announcement to both the students and the families, because that way I know that everyone involved with that student's account is getting the message. So I'm going to even change this to say student inbox, because that can get confusing. There's a student inbox and there's a family inbox and then there's a school inbox. With Seesaw, you can message both the student and the family at the same time. So if there are 5 family accounts connected to that student's Seesaw account, they'll all get the message. And that's the beauty of making it as easy for families. If multiple family members are involved in their learning, this is a great way to include them all. Netta, is there anything you want to add to that?
I think everything, what I really like about Seesaw is that in the announcements, you can link photos, videos, other links to other media. And that's why I was saying that you can link your Bitmoji housing page right to this. So that's why I said that this was like really important as well.
Yes.
And the next slide that we're going to show you is we're going to, play this video so that you have like an idea of how this, what it looks like.
Was I supposed to press play before I did it? You know
I
what?
think so.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Welcome to Get Family Started on Seesaw. This training is designed for teachers who are already set up with an account and class on Seesaw and want to create powerful partnerships with families. While watching, have another window or device ready to follow along with the steps. Today we'll explore how the class app is different from the family app, 2 ways to invite families through Seesaw, and how to ensure all families are supported to connect by meeting families where they are. Let's take a look at the class and family apps. When teachers, students, and families are connected on Seesaw, it creates a powerful learning loop that deepens student learning. The Seesaw class app is for teachers and students. Teachers assign powerful learning experiences called Seesaw activities. Students use powerful learning tools to respond to activities and post their learning to their Seesaw journal. The class app is for teachers and students. The family app is for families. Here's a family member's view in the family app. Right now, we're looking at the Journal tab. Connected family members can see their child's posts and engage with them. Families can like or leave a comment of encouragement on a post, like you see here. You can control these engagement settings in class settings. That's the wrench icon. Seesaw takes privacy seriously. Connected family members only see their own child's posts and posts their child is tagged in. Here's the Inbox tab in the family app. Teachers can send classroom moments, positive messages, and resources through a class announcement or private message. Families can type a reply back to the teacher, or click the plus button to use Seesaw tools to share photos, videos, and more. Creating partnerships with families has never been easier. Families see and reinforce what their child is learning at home, and teachers get to know each and every family in deeper ways. With translation tools, all families are able to engage. If a family member's device is set to a language other than English, they see the option to see translation. No more waiting for conferences or relying on translators to communicate with your families. Keep in mind that students cannot use the family app to respond to activities or post to their journal. The Family app is for families to view student work and communicate with the teacher. Students must use the class app to post to their journal. Pause the video and take a moment to jot down the key differences between the class and the family apps. How do you get families connected?
So again, we just want to clarify, there are two Seesaw apps. There's the family app and the class app. Now, in our case, our students aren't technically using the class app. It would still be their family member. However, the class app is the only way that they can submit work unless they use a website. And if the family wants to download the app, I would suggest having them download both, or at least the class app, so that they can submit the work of their child. In the older grades, like 3, 4, 5, they might be able to just have their student app on their own cell phones, because I know they have cell phones nowadays. They'll be able to submit it themselves. The family app is great for, and in the last session, someone said, what if there are two family members that they're both engaged in the learning, but they don't live in the same household? Well, then you might want to have them both download the class app. Or if one is more involved with the learning than the other, then that family can decide who's going to be in charge of submitting the work on the class app, while the other one might just have the family app and they can respond with encouragement on the app. Or for me, I would probably, if I don't have a child, but if I had a child, I'd give it to my grandmother and my mom, so that they, in Florida and New York, they can see the work that their grandchild or their great-grandchild is doing on the class app, but they would only have access through the family app to see the child's work, not comment on, or not see other assignments. They would just see the submitted work of their grandchild or their niece or their nephew. So it's a great way to involve other members in the family, but that is a key difference to note between the two apps.
There are two ways in Seesaw. To invite families, always start by clicking the plus families button on the bottom right of your screen. Your first option is to print invites by clicking Print Invites. Printed invites are available in 15 languages. Choose a language. You'll get a class set of personalized PDFs for each child in the language you selected. Print these PDFs and send them home with students. Family members simply scan the QR code to connect to their child's journal. If you need invites in more than one language, repeat the process for each language you need. You will get a class set for each language you choose. You can also invite families digitally. Type in a family member's phone number or email address and click Invite Families. Yeah, it's that easy. Family members will either get a text message or email with a link to connect. Families click the link and follow the prompts. To check the status of your invites, click plus families to return to this page. You'll see the status of your invites on the right. You can manage all invites and connected family members in class settings by clicking Manage Families. Seesaw for Schools administrators can also invite families in bulk. If you're a Seesaw for Schools teacher, encourage your admin to look into this option. No matter how you invite families, each student can have up to 10 family members connected. Now it's your turn. Pause the video, click plus families, and get your families connected. Sometimes a printed or emailed invite doesn't work for all families. That's all right. Let's meet families where they are. The Seesaw Family Engagement Kit gives you everything you need to connect families. Let's take a look at what you'll find. You'll find ready-to-use handouts that help families understand how Seesaw supports their child's learning, walks them through the steps to get connected, and gives them a tour of how to use the family app. Share these handouts digitally or print them out and share them in person. You'll also find step-by-step guides for connecting families in different ways. You'll find a guide for leveraging classroom events like Meet the Teacher or Back to School Night. There's one for leveraging one-on-one meetings like conferences. Families can't meet in person? There's a guide for that too. Get everything you need to make sure every family is supported to connect. Pause the video, explore the Family Engagement Kit, and make a plan for getting every family connected. You did it! You learned the difference between the class and the family apps, 2 ways to invite families through Seesaw, and where to find everything you need to meet families where they are. We can't wait for you to experience the power of strong partnerships with families. Thanks for spending time with us today. Join us for more trainings at web.seesaw.me/training. See you again soon here at Seesaw.
Okay. And we just kind of reviewed this
Yep.
in the video and also myself. This is a great resource. Definitely review that video again to remind yourself of the difference between class and family. And I want to say, like, I know this can be confusing because our students will not be managing the Seesaw class app themselves. So families will still need to download the Seesaw class app to upload work. But family app, there is no opportunity to upload work. So the family app is more for communication. The class app is for a classroom, virtual classroom experience.
Right. And so there's other available resources on here like talking points. And so talking points is something that has been paid by the district because Seesaw doesn't have a texting feature. But what's great about talking points is that, and you'll get more information from your school leaders about it, is that it can translate what you're typing in the parent's native language, right? So it's not something that's joined with Seesaw at all. It's a separate thing if you want to use it to reach more families. However, Seesaw can translate a lot, can translate things in the family's language, depending on if the phone is set to their language. If they're trying to do it on their child's computer and the child's computer is set in English, it will not translate, but it will if the phone is, you know, translated like it's set to their language. Mm-hmm. So they are two different things. And this one might be more helpful if you're engaging families that really can't, you know, have a hard time even accessing like Seesaw. This goes directly to their phone and not through their email. However, Seesaw does send push notifications to their phones when an email is sent out.
Awesome. And I just want to sorry, Judy, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask a clarifying question because I think some people in the audience might have it. For the littles, could you get away with just using the class app and not even bother with the family version?
Yes. Yes. Okay. I didn't want to say that, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to suggest that my my families just use the class app. I had that battle in the summer where one family had both and it was confusing for them and for me because I was new to Seesaw and I was like, wait, I don't understand why you can't post either. And then I had to like Google and figure it out. So because we're teaching littles, it will save you a lot of time if you can if they can just sign up for the class app. However, still tell them about the family app because grandma, abuela, you know, like whoever might want to be included in the learning can still see what's going on. And in this time right now, connection is key in whatever way, shape, or form you can provide it. So if a family feels more involved in the learning by having the family app, that's great, but they definitely need the class app. That is a must. That's a non-negotiable.
The only thing you're missing out on if you don't use the family app is the private messaging to families one-on-one. So you'll have to be either comfortable texting, emailing, or using a different app then to communicate to one specific family. Mm-hmm. And with anyone who can read, if they don't have the family app and they only have the class app, then if the student is a reader, then the student is seeing anything that you say to the parent. And so for older children, you're definitely probably going to want to have both if you want to have any sort of private conversation you don't want students seeing with their parents.
Yes, thank you, Colleen. And something we want to say about talking points before we move on to the next slide is that they're not lying when they say they are the highest quality translation. Now, talking points is another app. So you need to know your capacity and what you're able to do. Yes, it is the highest quality translation, but Google Translate does the job as well. So if you are not a tech savvy person or you don't feel comfortable having numerous apps, or you feel comfortable just engaging with the family through the Seesaw app, through the student's account, then you can do that, especially if you're like an early childhood teacher and they're not reading yet. But Google Translate works as well. And so feel free to just put it into Google Translate and then send that message to the family. With talking points, you can message multiple families who speak the same language, the same message. So that's also a great thing about that. and it doesn't create a new group chat in your phone. Like it sends it to all of them individually. So that is something that is pretty awesome about Talking Points as well.
Someone was just asking, like, do we need to do both? The answer is no, you don't.
No.
We're giving you that option for parents that maybe are even having a hard time with Seesaw and getting that immediate message out to them. You may want to do Talking Points, but you can do this all through, most of this all through Seesaw. And again, Talking Points translation is very high again. So,
there we go. And I'm gonna, since we're talking about translation, let's go straight into the BPS also offers translation services as well. Each school leader received a PIN number that you need to get from your school principal that allows you to three-way call a parent on demand and give live translation services. So that is something you want to check in with your principals about or your school leaders about, because there are multiple ways to translate with a family or to provide translation to a family. You can do it through the app, you can do it through Google Translate, you can do it through Talking Points app, and you can do it on demand live with this number from your principal. So those are just some of the options available to you. Choose what works for you. We're giving you so much. You need to take some time before September 8th or whenever you want to do it and just go through it and figure out what works best for you.
Okay, all right, so this is also something that's really important. What we kind of want to let you guys know is that, you know, during this time of COVID and quarantine, especially in the spring, I was able to really develop some great relationships with my families because I wanted to check in on them. I wanted to see how they were doing every week. Do they have food that they need? Do they, you know, are they healthy? How are, you know, we're kind of really getting into, it became a little bit more personal, right? And so our suggestion is, you know, I would always have like once a week check-in with my families. Now, some families couldn't make it, and that's fine. And I would do separate check-ins with them. But sometimes it was great to do a parent Zoom meeting at the beginning of the week or at the end of the week, just to check in, and even families getting to know other families, or how, you know, they may have resources that I don't know about, and that's their time to collaborate and share. So I think that that was really important. And it was also a great way for me to let them know what was going on that week. And they could also let me know, like, hey, so Johnny might not be in school on Monday. He has a doctor's appointment, things like that, you know, because they have to see that we're their partner here, and we're not here to judge them if, you know, they don't get on Zoom in time, or if they don't do the work, you know, whatever. We want them to know that we're here, we're flexible. I know it was really hard during quarantine. Some of you guys felt like you were on 24/7. I do highly recommend that we do kind of set a little bit more limits and boundaries, since we're not being thrown into this right now like we were. And just letting them know, like, hey, this is school. Like, school is 8 to 2 or 8 to 2:30, you know what I mean? And kind of lay out the expectations, and then work with families to increase flexibility. Mm-hmm. This is a great family hotline number. If there's something that your parents are asking you that you don't know, call that number. And these people are great. I've used them a few times. They'll get you the answers you need. And then Chromebook issues or tech issues, have them call the technology support line for families.
Yes.
And
Go ahead, Judy.
No, I was just going to note, the numbers are the same, but you'll get directed once you get through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somebody had asked about that, if that was a typo.
And something I do want to clarify, and I think maybe Colleen, you can speak more to this. You can message families through the Seesaw class app, but it's under the student's account. So that's what.
They don't have like an inbox the same way. So the students don't have kind of that two-way. You'd either have to do it through like comments on one of their posts, or you can send announcements, but they can't message you back.
Okay, because I've had families respond to me, but maybe it was because of the announcements they were able to respond to me. All right, next up. Netta, do you want to talk about this since you attended?
Sure. Really quickly here, these are some great parent sessions. I did go to one because my children are both in BPS. And this was done by the parent engagement team, and they did a really great job really educating parents that were able to come. I suggest you do a copy paste here, send it out to your new families. This could actually be a good first, in your introductory email here as well, just to kind of let them know that these trainings are going on. Some of them are for Google Classroom because some of the older kids after 6th grade could be using them. And the parent engagement team that ran this will help direct them to where they need to go. I've emailed them several times and they get back to parents very quickly. So I highly recommend informing your parents about these workshops.
And please note that the bit.ly link that I just put in the chat, which is to these sessions, is case sensitive. So it must be capital B, capital B, P, capital S, capital R, and the remainder lowercase. So it is case sensitive. All right, so we have Seesaw office hours, early childhood office hours after this session at 3 o'clock. So feel free to stay on if you can. Not stay on. Feel free to join if you can, because we will be closing this and then going into another Zoom link that Annie will provide. And we apologize that we're not modeling the one Zoom link option right now, but we have two different facilitators for this. So we thank the BPS Technology Department for this Zoom link because they are able to record it and then process it and put it on their website. And then Annie Taylor, who is our Seesaw support guru, she is going to be able to open up a new link so that we can do our office hours there. But this document is awesome, and we can put it in the chat and you can start looking it over now if you feel comfortable to do that and listen to us talk. But it has some of the questions we've received with our answers already in there. So this might be helpful for you with links as well. So I will put that in the chat right now. And while I'm doing that, I'll move to the next slide. So Netta.
And you will get all of this information as well emailed you within 24 hours. And probably within the next couple of days, it will be on what I'm going to talk about right now. Some of these important links. Somebody was asking where we can find all these webinars. They're here linked in the technology, digital learning resources and webinars. So these are very important websites that you will have access to access anything else that you may want to learn about. I know Bitmoji Classroom webinar is in there. I know OIIT is offering more live sessions for them. I think, Rianne, one of them is coming up soon. So just stay tuned for that. But this is a great place to go to so that you know what courses and webinars are being offered.
Yeah. And we have a Bitmoji session tomorrow at 2 p.m. That's a great one to attend. You'll find out more information about that. Our emails, I saw someone say our emails are at the beginning of this presentation, which Colleen put in the chat. And I also put it in the chat and labeled it slides because I know there's a lot of links going around, so you might not be sure what is what. But the feedback form is also in the chat. Putting on the screen our contact information. Feel free to contact us if you have any more questions. And we will see you in a few minutes. We'll give you a few minutes to do the exit ticket. If you have more questions, please feel free to jot them into the chat before we head over to the Zoom link for office hours. Sorry, okay. So I think Rhiannon just put the webinar registration page and I will
Yes, all of the links, the feedback form, the webinar registration for tomorrow, the Zoom link for the office hours, and the slides are all in there. You might just have to scroll up a little to see them, but they're all pretty much in one
and
section,
they're
labeled.
And they're labeled.
And the chat has now been closed, just so that we can make sure you guys don't have to scroll up too much to find some of that.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to throw in my little stump speech here at the end. It's funny, the sense that I get with this afternoon crowd is that they're probably a little bit more at ease with technology, just based on the questions we're getting versus this morning's. But, you know, I'm just speaking to those of you out there who may not be as tech savvy as some of our panelists here who just know it inside and out and cold. I was starting at ground zero last year. It was a steep learning curve. And one thing I just did was I just tried to keep it simple. I use a metaphor, which they tease me about, but I use the metaphor of cooking. I'm the chef. The computer is the kitchen. Clever is the kitchen cabinets. And all the apps are the ingredients. And so we are in charge. We are the teachers. The technology is not in charge. Keep it simple. Learn your Seesaw, learn your Clever, learn your Zoom. And then you can add your spices after that with all kinds of different apps. So, you know, some of us think a little differently than others, especially if our early learning didn't involve technology. So it doesn't come necessarily as easy to us, but that doesn't mean you cannot be as effective a teacher, if not more effective.
Right.
So just, it'll go well. It's a great team here to support you.
Thanks for that, Judy. I was gonna say, are there any more questions? But it's actually time for us to head over to our Zoom to get some questions answered.
I want to say thank you once again to all of our fabulous presenters today and to our attendees for attending and learning with us. We will have many more offerings in the coming weeks, but for right now, just absorb before they've done so far. And please know you can reach out to them or myself with any questions. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye, thank you for coming.
The Zoom link to office hours is in the chat.